Hello and welcome to my review of 4 Samura knives. Now Samura saw my Spyderco kitchen knife review that I uploaded and asked if I would like to do another one with some of their knives. So they were relatively happy with that video. I made no representations that I was professional at this, but as we all do, I definitely use kitchen knives very often. So this knife will be coming from a non-enthusiast, very much average user. There may be grips that I use that anger you or you think I could be doing better. All I can tell you is, and I know this seems like I'm very ignorant, but these digits, these hands, as yet untouched by kitchen knives, except for once when I was opening a box with one about 7 years ago. A small scar on my knuckle. So I'm kind of happy with how I do things, but I'm aware that there is such a thing as a pinch grip. We've had a video about this before. At any rate, I got 4 knives from Samura. I've reviewed them and tested them over time. We have definitely just treated them like normal people kitchen knives. There are 2 philosophies that people generally adhere to. They get really nice kitchen knives, or they just get the $5 Woolworths Coles special. So these knives are somewhere in the middle, sort of sitting with the Victorinox, Ferox, maybe almost nipping at the heels of the Spyderco K11 that I've got over there. So let's have a look at the Samura knives. I have 4 of them. I'll show you what they do. So this one here is from their Bamboo series. It's an AUS 8, and this series is made obviously with this aesthetic in mind, this bamboo-like handle. It's like a hollow steel handle going into a very lightweight, very long and thin chef's knife blade. So this one is for your primary chef knife purpose. It's got an obvious heel that stops your finger. The sharpening job is mine, so it isn't factory perfect, but they come at 17 degrees from the factory. And yeah, this is kind of their lightweight one-piece sort of model that they make. The next one is the MOV high carbon range. These seem to be the slightly more premium ones that they make. Out of the 3 I've got at any rate. Just from the handle design, it seems to be just a little bit of extra finish. You've got fully rounded. The tang is partial, I would suggest. It sort of goes into a one-piece guard here. Japanese symbol on the end, just for those who like Japan but don't love it enough to know what the symbols mean. And there you go. So AUS 8 steel again, nice thin, somewhat flexible, but overall your general kitchen utility knife. And then I guess another chef's knife, or maybe even like getting towards a boning knife or something like that. Long and thin, fairly flexible. The 67 series seems to be their more basic range. So this has just got a plastic composite handle that is finished to look like wood, but is plastic. Partial tang just to about there, so you're imagining the tang comes down just under these pins here. And overall, just a nice slicing, carving knife. I've used it on carving up roasts and things like that. And then lastly, they sent me this little ceramic knife, pretty much just a fruit knife. I use this for sort of cutting up apples and cutting tops off of strawberries and that sort of thing. Ceramic, very sharp, has stayed sharp, hasn't need to be sharpened like the other ones have. It's got a moderate level of sharpness that really seems to be sticking around. So it isn't hair shaving sharp or anything like that. Actually, it kind of is hair shaving sharp still, but not particularly. It's a different sort of edge. It's hard to explain ceramic, but there you go. It's probably not a full tang. It just probably goes to about there in the handle. So those are the 4 that Samura sent me. Let's get into my thoughts. So my favorite of the bunch is this one. This is the MOV High Carbon Series SM23. Just a nice little size. It's the knife that I've definitely fallen to using for my just general everything tasks, from cutting up potatoes to cutting up meat. It's the one that I seem to be reaching for the most, I think because I like the handle the most. Look, all of these are very thin, very much correctly ground kitchen knives. The edge bevels come at 17 degrees per side. I have, and I'll speak of this later, I have altered the edge angle for my testing. But yeah, this is a very much just, I can't see a flaw with this knife. It's very much within its price point. It's AUS 8. It's getting a good kitchen knife still. It's got some nice finishings on the handle. Nice finishing here. It's pretty well cut. The blank isn't too rough. I've noticed on the bamboo one, the blank's just a little bit rough around the heel. Don't mind the tip. That was me, not Samura. That was me doing the work sharp test. But this has become probably my favorite out of the 4. The next one, and this is the one that Teresa, my wife, likes the most. She likes it because she feels it's just nice and light in the handle. It's a little bit more blade heavy, and yeah, just the longer blade, thinner blade. I don't know what speaks to it, what speaks to her about it, but it certainly does. So this is their more basic range. You can tell just by the handles, a little more basic. Again, the edge is AUS 8 steel. It's, you know, in that sort of 9-inch long size range. So definitely chef knife size, but just doesn't have that broad face that, say, other chef's knives will have, which is sort of where the bamboo one jumps in. And then bringing onto that one, the bamboo is the chef knife. It is just a little bit roughly finished, just around, and I just did notice it has a slight, it's got a slight bend in it, and I had that before I started using it, just a slight tilt in it. So as in like it's, yeah, I mean now I can barely see it on the camera, but just had a slight tilt in it, but really the only proper fault in it. I'm not the biggest fan of this aesthetic, but if you are, I mean, what I can tell you is it's pretty comfortable in the hand. I just think that these little grooves here are just going to attract stuff, filling them up. So it's the only reason I'm not super stoked on that one, just the general appearance. But in terms of being a practical utility blade, really nice tall face, really thin behind the edge, because the steel is obviously starts super thin and then graduates down to being even thinner. Just a good all-purpose chef knife that yeah, certainly has no issues whatsoever, being a very good performer too. Just purely the aesthetics make it less of a hit with me. And again, this one is in AUS 8. So speaking of the AUS 8 steel, it wouldn't be this channel if I didn't test it. I tested it against my Victorinox Ferox knife. So this is in Victorinox's kitchen knife steel, which I think is probably their Swiss Army knife steel. So I did my work sharp rope cutting test. So I got all these 4 knives and I put the same edge on all of them, and then I cut rope with the last couple of inches before the heel of each knife, being as close to, you know, each other's use as I possibly could. Now all of the AUS 8 ones performed about the same. So yes, I would say that this is all 3 of them about probably the same stock and same treatment of AUS 8. All cutting around the 60 marker. This one cutting slightly longer, maybe because of the extra thinness, I'm not sure, maybe just purely a fluke. And this one cut to about 40 times through the rope before it no longer, before they lost their apex, which is what I'm testing, when the knife no longer slices held paper. These are not dull by any chance. You can still cut up an orange or an apple with any of these, even the part that was being used, but just something to be aware of. They certainly last a little bit longer than the AUS 8, so you are getting a slight boost in edge retention, I would suggest. And when moving to soft goods, which is probably what you're going to be cutting with your kitchen knives, it's yeah, probably a pretty decent improvement, and a noticeable one at that. So comparing it to my Spyderco. Now my Spyderco is a bit more of a formidable kitchen knife. It's a little bit on the thicker side, still has a nice tall face, so it slices really well. This is a much more sturdy knife and much more, it's got a lot more weight behind it and just feels a little bit more durable. There is no flex in this blade at all. This one is a VG10. I didn't do the edge test with this one. I just didn't want to put a workshop edge on my nice expensive Spyderco blade. That is that. I take pretty good care of this one, but hey, even this one has been through the dishwasher. But really, these ones here took a proper everyday usage from us for the last couple of months, and that included every now and then being put in the dishwasher. And there is some, like, I guess you would say discoloration, but really nothing forming rust has really appeared, even though these haven't been taken particularly good care of. In the handle of this one, I think the heat of the dishwasher has discolored the plastic just a little bit, but it is all still rock solid. So these, you know, for the first little while, as with I think everyone's kitchen knives, I did baby them a little bit and treat them really nicely, but life happens, you know? And when life happens, these knives seem to be pretty happy to go with the flow and roll with the punches. So yeah, this one's probably got the most tarnishing on it. This is after a rub down, so you can just see just the finish just alters to look a little bit mottled, but nothing that I would say is rust, and no warping or anything crazy like that from the, you know, pretty decent dishwasher heat. You know, it's 100 degrees in there for a fair few minutes, so there you go. The last but not least is the little ceramic knife. So a little ceramic knife's a really handy thing to have around your kitchen, and I'd never had anything like a little ceramic knife that I've actually used. I got one to do a cut test on ages ago, but it just sat in my shed. And this is a really, really handy knife for yeah, as I said before, cutting up strawberries, cutting grapes off of the stems, and all that sort of really little stuff, little jobs, even tomatoes, all that sort of stuff that needs a really keen edge, very consistent cuts. Really nice performer with a little ceramic knife. So I was really happy with that one too. I don't think these are costing too much at all. So yeah, if you hadn't got a ceramic knife in your kitchen, as long as you realize that you can't use it to, you wouldn't want to open the odd cardboard package or whatever like you may force these ones to do. It's a really durable little thing. Obviously you can chuck this in the dishwasher, no worries at all. With the dishwasher, the main reason that you don't want to chuck it in is probably rust, but there's also a theory that the tablets in the water, if you use dishwasher tablets, form a bit of a rough water that can, makes the water a bit more harsh on the edges, so it can lead to rapidly or accelerated dulling of your knives. I don't think the ceramics had too many issues with that at all, because I've pretty much washed this one non-stop in the dishwasher and I can still get it to pop my arm hairs at certain angles, so no worries at all with that one. So Samura knives, look, I don't know if they are seen as a illustrious brand or as just as a mass production brand or whatever. This review has come from someone who basically did no research on these knives. I just used them, and that's kind of how I wanted to keep it. I didn't want to know everything about them, and I didn't. If they're premium, that's fine. If they're really laughed at and derided, that's fine too. These are just my experience with the blades, and as mid-tier, mid-level pricing wise kitchen knives, which is all I really checked in on how much they cost. Yeah. Absolutely really nice. I'd probably get one set, and I'd probably go with this set as my own personal choice and get the whole one so they all matched and get like a magnetic block for them. But otherwise, I think either, as long as you're on board with the looks of this one, or if you want to spend a little bit less and get the 67 series, yep, I really can't see you doing too far wrong. Absolutely. And yeah, your kitchen knife guys might laugh at these knives and pick all these faults that I didn't, but just from basically using them, pretty happy indeed. All right, thanks for watching this, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this somewhat. I hope you enjoyed my weird sandwich at the start. I really do eat that sort of stuff. That's me. I don't eat much meat. My kids eat meat, so that's where the roast comes from, because we don't force any of our beliefs on our kids. We let them make their own minds up about stuff. But yeah, we've got them eating meat still because they like eating meat. But yeah, as for me, yeah, I'll make some odd stuff from time to time. I think my last time, my hash brown sandwich was the subject of a few dodgy comments as well. At any rate, that's the Samura knives. Thank you, Samura. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.